Welcome to 20 at 10 with Nat. I'm your host, Natalie, and my special guest today is Holly Hagerman. She's the founder of AmptUp and a native Texan from Houston. She brings over a decade of experience building her first business, a boutique digital marketing and branding agency focused on environmentally responsible clients, including Fortune 100 global companies. This experience is combined with her partner's background, Frederic Rouault, as a European touring musician and venue production professional for some of Europe's most notable venues, including the Cannes Film Festival, the Monaco Sporting, and working alongside Sting, U2, Alicia Keyes, and more. She has two rugrats, age 3 and 4.5, who are the actual bosses of everything. Live music is a $9 billion industry that many artists feel is messy, disorganized, and at its breaking point. And Amped Up is connecting musicians and venues in a way that cuts booking time in half and reduces risk. Amped Up is the only equity-based musician app with no subscription fees, and also gives back a portion of every booking fee into artist grants. Their goal is to make any city a music city. And I met Holly through an Amped Up mixer here in Austin and was really impressed with their vision and just her as a person. And I've gotten to know her better over the last few months, and I just get more and more excited about what they're doing. So I wanted to have her on the show and introduce all of you to Holly and what she's doing. Please welcome Holly.
Hey
Hello.
everybody.
Thanks for
Hi.
joining.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited too. So, with that, tell me a little. Well, we've already introed a little bit about Amped Up. I was going to maybe ask a quick recap. Why should musicians and venues get excited about Amped Up?
That's a good question, and one that is met with a lot of skepticism with practically everybody I meet because there are a lot of musician websites out there. So the question is always, how are you any different? I
Right.
think that the primary thing is that in addition to discovery and connecting venues to musicians, we are the only platform, first of all, that's focused on diversity and equity and fair pay and is mission based. But we are the only app that allows you to also find and pitch and build relationships with venues and route tours, all with no subscription fees. So those tools that we offer, those efficiency tools, in addition to the discovery element, allows you to cut your booking time in half and really streamline things so that you are building your career and also protecting it. So having a contract every time, being able to go home when you're tired at the end of a show because you're going to get paid digitally and you know that that's already been agreed upon before you showed up. So you know what you're going to get paid. So we've done hours and hours of deep listening, hundreds of hours of deep listening to make sure that we have designed everything the way a musician needs it. And venues too.
Awesome. This is. I'm gonna pause our conversation. This is a sound technical question. Um, Joanna, how is the sound to you? Are our volumes about right? And also, Holly, for you, where is your microphone on your headphones?
It's down here. Would you like me
Okay,
to move
I
it?
was like, I think something might be knocking against it, maybe, because I was getting a little
Okay.
tap in there. Just letting you know.
All right. I'll just hold it like this. Let me know if
Okay,
it's.
that sounds great, actually. I think that fixed it. Well, okay, well, I got really excited hearing about all this because of the missions based mindset, and also as an artist who currently doesn't have a booking agent. Not that, this sounded really exciting to me because it feels like it's giving me an extra level of professionalism and without necessarily having an agent. And that made me really excited. And also for tax purposes, I like the idea of having, if I understand correctly, not handing my W 9 to everyone because I'm going through Amped Up. Amped Up has my W 9 and takes care of running all the numbers, and everything is kept clean and digital. And I personally appreciate that because taxes are a headache for me every year. So that was a plus for me. And also, I don't know, I just really like the idea of there being some more accountability in the industry and I mean, there's accountability for artists too in the platform, but there were a lot of things I was really excited about, and this is one of the platforms, one of the few platforms I've seen that I've gotten so excited about and actually want it to succeed. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you. And it's actually something that we have heard from all of our musicians, surprisingly. 100% of the musicians that we have toured through our demo, and we're almost up to 100 now, have all gotten very excited about it, which is not to toot any horns, but just to say that we're on the right track because we wanted to do listening that created something that solved a problem, and so that tells me that we are on the right track. So every person has said that they want to join, or they've already created their profile. So we're in the process of that. But back to your comment about the W-9s. This is something it's a little bit funny and surprising to me. So we did hours and hours of deep listening with venues as well to make sure that these people that are going to be kind of bringing the party, we're going to show up at the party. And I know that that's a concern that a lot of musicians have as well. How are you going to get the venues on the platform? And I have a lot of comments on that. But one of the funny things is that the W-9s, I'm telling them all about these wonderful features about it's going to reduce their risk and save them time and reduce their email overwhelm. And then I get to the part about how it's going to eliminate W-9s for them. They don't even have to look at them ever again. And they're like, oh man, that's really great. That's probably the best thing that you do.
Really?
So that has been a real surprise to me that the sexiest feature on our app for venues is the least sexy.
Yes.
But it's also for, a young woman in the business or anybody who just likes their personal security private, not sending out your personal home address or your social security number to 100 strangers around the nation, possibly, is also a safety issue. I did speak with one musician who had said that she was getting harassed by one of the people that she was being hired by, and she felt very uncomfortable sending her W-9 to them, which had all of her personal information on it. So, there are so many nuances and considerations to each button and feature that we've put in here.
I for one, really appreciate it. Well, so I kind of want to dive into a little bit, like, this is who you are and what you do, but I want to know why. Like, how did you get here to founding AmptUp? Because I think that's a really interesting story. So, like, do you want to share a little bit about that?
It is a good story. And it actually kind of starts with a really great love story, too. So, Frederic Rouault is my business partner, but he's also my husband. And sort of an unlikely person for me to end up with because we met in France on a vacation that I was on. There are lots of great details that go along with that love story there. But we were in France. We had a sick family member that we were coming to spend a little time with. We just had a 6-month obligation here, and had been working on this idea that was actually going to be something like what he grew up with in France called the Modern Garden. And it was a rehearsal studio space with a cafe and a bar and like a 50-person concert hall. And so for several years, we've been planning on doing this and been building up to it. And I was working on the business plan when the entire world shut down. And then overnight, we saw all of our friends and loved ones losing their livelihoods because many of them were musicians. Residencies, tens of thousands of dollars going poof in the middle of the night as everything shut down. And so, I was actually working on the business plan one dark and stormy night 2 years ago in 2020, actually on my birthday. And I just had this light bulb moment where it felt to me that this is not enough. This would be a fun idea to have a place where people could come together and, spend their money and make music. But I just felt like it wouldn't help enough people. And I have always had a fascination and interest and have been investing in marketplaces, scalable marketplaces. So I brought a lot of business knowledge to that. And then with my husband's music industry knowledge, it seemed like a perfect pivot for us to try to build something that could help people get the music industry back up and running, but really to start solving all of the problems that existed before anything shut down. Because my friend Jeanette Greger she's been in a number of different places and is sort of a production expert around Austin. She was saying that the music industry was at its breaking point before the pandemic hit, and it just crumbled things down. And what we hope to do is reconstruct and democratize the music industry, to make it more equitable, to help it make more sense, to make it easier. And I think that this whole story started because I looked at how much we love music on a day-to-day basis. You may listen to it in your shower or while you're cooking or while you're jogging. You may go out and enjoy the connection of people gathering together in that energy. And yet, as a society, we accept that musicians live at a poverty level, many of them. And that's if they are choosing to do this career and this passion and this artwork and this craft as their profession. Most of them go and get a second job or a third job. And we're okay with that. As a society, we say, yeah, it's just what you do if you're a musician. You don't do it full time. God, no, you don't feed your family on it. You do something else. And then we pay you like it's a hobby. And I think that needs to stop. And so I'm hoping that we can make some changes with technology to bring the awareness up about what's happening and make some changes. And they're just small changes. They don't have to be major, transformational changes with like one button, but they'll be step by step, and they take everybody's agreement.
I like it. Yeah. Very cool. And I don't know. I was like so listening. I wasn't even looking at my next questions. What you may have already touched on it, but what would you say in all the things that you're doing? And it doesn't have to be related to AmptUp, but I assume maybe it is. What part of what you do is bringing you the most joy? Like what part of this process and the aspect of this?
I really love listening to the musicians. I think the most fun part, and the venues too, was when I was interviewing everybody and just asking a lot of questions. And I felt like a reporter or a podcast host, just, what's your greatest headache? What's your problem here? Tell me about your worst horror story. I love hearing and then solving the problem. So that has been a lot of fun. I really love working on the design of the site. I sort of nerd out on that. And then every time I put a button in or a link in or I move a feature around, I'm thinking of specific names and voices in my head. And so whenever I beta test with people or get their feedback, I always say, okay, that was a really great idea. Every single thing you see on the site was somebody's voice. None of it was from me because I am not a musician. And I think that is its strongest selling point, is that it was not built by a musician. I'm not in any ruts or what do you call it? More like or a groove where, I think things should be done a certain way. It is all entirely based on the voices of venues and musicians. It's not what I want. It's what you want. And I think that that's been really the most fun part. And then also now that we've kind of completing a lot of the initial visioning and listening for that, is now listening to musicians again get excited about it, because it makes me feel like I'm serving my community and that I did that listening the way I've been taught to do it, to solve problems. So it's validating that it's on the right track.
That's awesome. I love it. And what are you hoping to see in the next 5 years, 10 years? Like, where are you hoping to be with this?
I think, there's hope. There is business strategy and what makes sense from a business perspective. And then there is what serves our mission. And my work in branding and marketing was always very, very mission based. In fact, the very first thing we did with any client was distill everything that they did down into, I think it was a 120 syllable purpose statement. We focused on the actual syllables. And then we made sure that we flowed it through every single marketing thing that they did, and every way they showed up in the world to make sure that they were serving their mission and their purpose. And so when I look at where we want to be 3 to 5 years, I have to look first at that mission to make sure we're serving that. And so I believe that that then serves the business strategy and the hopes and the dreams as well. It sort of has a cascading effect. So in 3 to 5 years, I believe that in order to serve our mission and serve all of these musicians and venues that believe in us with a lot of fervor and have seen so many music apps come and go with a lot of promise and a lot of vivaciousness, and then poof, they're gone, or they never really made it anywhere and they just wasted people's time. I believe that we need to be a household name. We need to shift how venues, the ecosystem of how venues are booking, and the ecosystem around how musicians are asking to be booked, what they're asking for themselves, and what they're insisting on: contracts, payment terms up front, things to be above board.
Awesome. Hey, Joanna. Joanna's here, and also Brian tuning in. And Nick was here, I think, or Nick is still here. Hey, guys. Thanks for tuning in with us. This is my last question, and one of my favorite questions to ask all of my guests. What is your earliest memory of being struck by music? Like hearing a song and just being moved by
That's a
music?
really good one. It feels like it's sort of just, I mean, a part of my life. It's very hard to find a singular moment. But we didn't actually listen to a lot of music growing up. I had a boombox in my room that was on a lot. I would say there's sort of two moments. I would put on this Forest piano um, CD that I got at, what's that, Brooks something or other, in the mall, and it was piano and forest sounds and birds chirping and things like that. And I would put that on as I went to sleep at night, and I still do sometimes. And
Wait,
it
that same
was
CD or the same track?
that same actual album, yeah.
Wow.
And it was so soothing to me. And then I would say the second is Christmas music, because it's really the one of the rare times. And it's not to say my family doesn't like music; they do. They love music. They love going out and dancing. We just didn't have it a lot in our house. But my mom had a stereo installed in the kitchen, like under one of the cupboards, so that we could listen to Christmas music. And I think that's probably my best, earliest memories of music is listening to Christmas music, baking, cooking, the day after Thanksgiving when the sunny 99.1 would switch over to 100% Christmas music. I think that's my
Nice.
best memories. But what's interesting is now seeing it through my children's eyes. So I think the two most memorable moments I've had with both of them, I sing. I decided I have lots of fear about singing in front of anybody, but I love singing and decided that I would really sing to my kids. So I do. And one time, the first time I sang Chim Chimney from Mary Poppins, I finished it, and it's just all a cappella in their room, sitting on the bed. And my son, he was probably like 3, and I finished, and he goes, "Whoa!" And I was just filled with chills and so much love. And then for my daughter, what's been really amazing is watching her every single time I play a song. She says, "Who is it, Mama? Who's singing?" And she won't stop asking that question till I tell her that person's actual name, and I look it up
Oh,
on my phone. And I think that the way she connects with the human being behind that sound is really beautiful. So I'll share their experiences because I think they're more exciting than my own.
Yeah, they're all really sweet. I love it. Well, all right, this next part of the show is where I just draw random questions from a board game and we take turns answering it.
Awesome.
Have you ever snuck out through a window?
You didn't tell me you were going to do this. Um,
We had a
no,
very
not
long
that I could think
sound check.
of.
Um,
Yeah, no, I have no, I've never been a sneaker outer. My friends still make fun of me that like I'm really happy being in bed at 10 o'clock at night when I'm
nice.
not. Doesn't work out well.
I
I've
also,
always been that way, even through teenage years.
that's funny. I don't think I've snuck
With
out
my
either.
forest piano.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. Have you ever re-gifted?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
Same.
No, I mean, and I don't think there's any shame in regifting. I think that like the whole societal thing, like the guilt and obligation, we just as a society, because it's not individual. Like the person giving you the gift wants you to be happy with it. If you're not,
Right.
they don't expect you to hold on to it for years and clutter your life up with it. But we hold on to so much guilt around it. So no, I think if somebody else is going to be happier with something, definitely give it. And up in Portland, Oregon, where I've lived for many years, I'm a native Texan, but have lived there for a while as well. They have something called naked lady parties, and it celebrates this whole regifting where everybody gets together. They put all their clothes in a pile that they want to give away, and you have like naked lady buddies that are like you always are taking their clothes. And I'm a big proponent of secondhand everything and reusing, regifting, whatever. No shame.
I appreciate it. And I think there's an element of like this gift or object that I have that now just sits on a shelf or in a drawer because I feel obligated to keep it. It would be so much better if someone else was able to enjoy it. And so if someone
Yeah.
comes to mind that seems like the right person for this thing, I will totally pass it on to someone else. Um, Joanna tuning in with a or chiming in with a story. She said she and one of her cousins snuck out of a window when they were supposed to be napping when they were 6.
Whoa, six.
But
Adventurous. That
just
was
went,
daring.
yeah, pretty daring. That's pretty funny. Well, do you have any questions for me?
Hmm. Gosh. Have you ever snuck out of a window? Have you ever regifted? Let's see. Um,
It can be
I
about
want to
anything.
know. I want to know when you're going to have um, your roadside lounge and stopover uh, hotel or ranch for musicians. Is that
I
going
would
live?
I would also like to know when that's going to happen. I would love it. I don't know if it's possible in the next 5 years, but I would like for it to be existing in the next 5 years.
All right.
It might be more like 5 to 10, but I've shared the dream on the show before, but at some point I want to own some property, probably 10 to 15 acres, and just have a little house on it and also have a couple of efficiency, like tiny homes, and eventually a studio, maybe, and definitely an outdoor stage. And I want it to be this multi use space where I can have songwriters fly in from Nashville or wherever, LA, to come write with me for the weekend, and they have their own private, clean space. And or traveling friends, bands coming through town can come and stay, and again, they have their own private, clean space. And just like I'm a communal person, like I want to be around people and I want to build and develop community, and I feel like yeah, I want to create spaces where people come together, and that just seems like a really fun space to have to have the appropriate space to host an outdoor show, like a probably 100 to 200 spot maybe for this. I mean, it could be bigger, but and if I have anything to do with it, that outdoor stage is going to be so cute. People are going to want to get married there.
I like
So,
that.
yeah, so I want to do that eventually. Um, just got to figure out how to fund it. Make it happen.
Investors, listen up. We're both looking for investors. I have got two more questions for you.
Okay.
What is your what is your worst booking horror story?
Let's see. Thinking through. I got to be careful because I don't want to like burn anybody, on a digital medium that will stay live forever. But I've definitely had, trying to think the most recently, I've had some pretty great, I don't believe in luck, but like experiences. And, but a recent one that was frustrating and kind of shocking was I got recruited by a friend to play a thing that wasn't actually that exciting. But what she pitched to me, like I was going to do it so that I could share a bill with my friend. Because a lot of times it is hard to get musicians together unless they are on the same bill.
Yeah, it
And so,
becomes
like,
exciting when you're doing it
yeah.
with community and friends.
So sometimes I will say yes to a show just so that I can be with that musician and so that we can pal around for the day or the evening or the weekend. Or like festivals, songwriter festivals are always fun. Anyway, so she pitched this, I'll leave the details vague, this evening, like an all women's event. And she and I were going to be the music, and it'd be like a song swap, and we'd be playing all our originals. The pay wasn't super great, and it was kind of a ways out of town, but it was going to be fun because it would be me and her. And I was like, all right. And then it got closer to the event, and the actual booking person reached out to give details about it. And suddenly it was only covers, not originals, and all upbeat, like hype covers, which is not at all really what I do. I'm a chill, like I turn everything chill when it comes to covers, and so I was getting nervous about it, and it seemed less fun. But I still was like committed, and I'm in, and I communicated that with the booking person, and then it came up to like a couple weeks before, and I reached out to my friend, and I was like, hey, are we gonna get together to rehearse for this? I just want to make sure we have what we need for this gig. And she was like, oh, the booking person told me you weren't doing it. She booked somebody else. And then she canceled the whole thing. And I was like, no one told me I wasn't playing the gig anymore. And I was going to just show up, like, and I was just like, I looked back through our messages and I'm like, I totally didn't say I wasn't doing this. It just was like I was upset about it because she didn't they didn't tell me, and even my friend didn't double check with me. Hey, that's weird. Why did you back out? Why didn't you, like the communication, total miscommunication and a total breakdown.
And you've already blocked it off your calendar.
Blocked it in my calendar.
Yeah. There's a third party involved.
There were multiple things about it that were offensive. I don't want to go just rant about it, but it just was really, really frustrating. So, yeah. And it was ultimately fine because it wasn't going to be the greatest gig, but I just felt kind of insulted by the way that everything went down, and I was like, I'm never working with this person again if I can help it.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm assuming that's the booking person, and you're still friends with the person that asked you to play.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope she and I still have not shared a gig together, and I think her schedule kind of blew up and she got pretty busy, but eventually I think we will eventually share a bill together and it'll be fun. But I don't know, just
all right.
I think that might be more common than even I would like to. I hope that it's not that common, but I think it is more common than.
We've heard a lot of stories about that, double bookings, surprise cancellations, thinking, venue. I talked to one musician who had a great relationship with this big venue in his hometown, and he was playing in another city. He had played one night, and then like a couple of weeks or a month later, he gets a call and he's about to go on stage in a different city, and they're like, where are you? Well, there's a line out the door waiting to see you. And he's like, I don't have any of this on my schedule. And he's a very diligent person, so there was just a third party miscommunication, and he's never been invited back to play at that. So that's really common, those sort of, everybody's being pulled in so many different directions, and having something in writing is so critical to prevent that. Okay, totally. Last question. What's your greatest headache in booking and building your career?
There are a lot of emails going back and forth, and there are, like, even right now, conversations with people, they're kind of like open tabs on a browser. And like even now I'm like, there's I think at least 3 people that I owe an email, or like tasks that I need to do and get done. And it's stressful. Like one of my fears is that I'll just drop the ball on something. Like I'll just
Mm.
forget to email someone back or forget to include a thing. And I'm not like, I'm organized in a lot of ways. I'm a little disorganized in some ways, but like I'm usually, I like to keep things straight and like get everybody what they need in a timely manner. And
I can
it's
attest to this. She is very diligent. Anybody who's listening.
it's frustrating to be the one who's delaying a process, but that
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably the biggest headache is like when
With
there's a
exception to
miscommunication.
asking you if you've ever snuck out of a window, those are all of my questions.
Okay, awesome. I have not. Well, I don't think so. Yeah. Um. Okay. Well, let's see. We still have a few minutes. Um. So normally, what I do at the end of every show, I'll ask a few more of these random questions, and then normally I'll close out the show with a song. Um. I have not yet. I think actually I might have decided on a song to play, but it's a song off the new album, and which I don't think you've heard this song. But are you ready for the last couple questions?
Give it to me.
Have you ever cut your own hair?
Yes. And
Do you
my
have a
husband
story
has
about
a
this?
lot. My husband has a lot more style than I do, which is not surprising because he's a creative. I would say we're both creatives in very different ways. And this just happened recently because I hate going to the hairdressers. And I mean, I think they do a great job, and everything, but just like sitting still for so long, and you know, if you don't have built a relationship with that person over years, it's kind of an intimate place to be. And so I just like started, just did the bangs. I was tired of it. I wanted some bangs. And my I came downstairs because we were late for something, because I was upstairs cutting my bangs. We were late for lunch at a person's house, and he's like, "Ooh, you look like a sexy Russian," and like also it looked awful. It was like all cattywampus. So those were just bangs, but yes, I frequently like try to trim things up, and I just don't have the patience to sit in a chair.
That's funny. Joanna agrees. It's the idle conversation that
Yeah.
drives her nuts. Like, just don't. My roommate's the
Yeah,
same. She's
but
like,
I
don't
don't want
talk
to
to
be
me.
rude.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't want to be rude and like do work or sit on my phone or something or zone out, but that's what I really want to do.
totally. Also, Patrick's here.
Hey, Pat.
Um, okay, and then have you ever camped illegally?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, yeah. I've done a lot of camping, and I'm just thinking about this one time. I was in, oh gosh, Puerto Rico, and we were desperately looking for a place to camp, and it was like dark, and we're driving around, and I think we just ended up camping like on the side of the road somewhere, but like past a sign, it's all in Spanish, and my partner at the time spoke Spanish. I was like, "What did that say?" And he's like, "Seems there's like a mental institution for the criminally insane here." And he wasn't joking, like that was actually real. So that was sort of the most stressful, I would say the second most stressful illegal camping that we did. Same person, same partner. We were canoeing down a river in Nicaragua, trying to go from source to sea in a dugout canoe, and we're just paddling and paddling and paddling, never really finding a good place to get off. And like every time we'd get off, it was just like we'd sink into mud and couldn't
Ugh.
get out, or we were like worried someone would show up with a shotgun. And so we finally, and there's like there's crocodile infested rivers, and so we
Wow.
finally, and it's getting dark, and the only way we can keep the canoe on track is seeing like the trees on the side and where the stars meet the trees. And we're paddling and paddling. We've just got oranges and rice in the canoe for eating, and we get to this confluence of the rivers, and it's just pulling us in different directions. It's sort of terrifying because there are definitely crocodiles here. We've been seeing them sunning themselves, And we see one little light, and we like paddle towards the light, and we get over there, and we get out, and we camp on somebody's lawn under some coconut trees. And he's telling me to be careful because we could get a concussion from the coconuts. And then in the middle of the night, he wakes me up, and I do not do well when I'm woken up. I'm bleary eyed, and it's from a stressful sun-baked day. And he's like, Holly, I think my throat is closing up. You're going to have to perform a, and now I can't think what it is, but where you cut tracheotomy, where you're going to have to cut a hole in my left neck and breathe for me through a straw. Let me tell you how to do it in case my throat closes up and it's too late. And I think I said something like, go back to bed. I'm not doing that. And it was fine.
SOL.
Everything was fine. Yeah. Everything was fine. But those are a couple of my experiences with illegal camping.
Did his throat close up?
No, he was fine.
He was just freaking out?
Maybe it was anxiety. I don't know what it was. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Was he like a medical person? Like, how did he know?
He was. Yeah, okay, he was a doctor. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I would be.
He was an emergency room doctor, so I guess he was just like, yeah. Sometimes they tend to overthink what's wrong with themselves because they see the worst of the worst coming in. And he would always say he was taught to think horses, not zebras, when you hear hoofs pounding. And that was one case where he was definitely thinking about zebras.
Wow. Interesting. Okay.
We've got something from Alaska here.
Yeah, Joanna camped with a couple friends at a baseball field in Alaska when all the pay camps were full and they needed rest. They didn't get caught, though, which is great.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Hey, Raul. What's up? Raul's tuning in from
Hi,
Twitch.
Raul.
Also, Claudia's tuning in.
Hey, Claudia. She's also on our platform. She has been such a great support.
All right. Well, have you ever been injured doing something stupid? I have not illegally camped. I forgot to answer the question.
Yeah, I was going to say, aren't you going to do this too? I don't really think so. No, I tend to be pretty cautious and think about bodily injury in multiple ways, especially now that I have kids. Like, you're just constantly thinking about, like, they could fall in this 360-degree sphere. What is pointy or sharp or edgy that they could hit? The only thing I could think of is I was jumping up and down in ninth grade because I was excited about something, talking to a friend, and I gave myself a hairline fracture on my ankle. It's the only time I've ever broken anything. Yeah.
I don't know if I've been injured doing something. Oh, maybe. Well, I don't know. It's not seriously injured, but I remember I went on this company retreat, and it was Harry Potter themed, which is so fun. And there were like 12 different groups or colors or something. They split us. There were like a couple hundred on this retreat, and there was like a competition throughout the weekend. And one of the competitions involved physical activity, like sprints and things, kind of like, what is that workout place? Obviously, I don't go there. Not Camp Gladiator.
Like, I don't know.
Everyone, like, they're just like, oh.
I was thinking
anyways,
CrossFit.
Kind of like,
but...
Yeah, CrossFit. It was like CrossFit. And all of a sudden, like, one of the things was you have to, did it go in ascending order? I think it was like a burpee challenge. And so, do you know what burpees are? So, like, you start straight up and then you end, you get on the ground on your stomach and then you have to get back up again. Like, it's a lot of up and down. And my limbs, my muscles were so tired because I don't think I'd ever done a burpee before. It was like you do one and then you start over one and then two.
That's pretty intense for a company retreat. Like,
and I mean, you could
opt
opt out.
That level of ability.
I mean, you could opt out, or
you're the person that opts out.
Well, but I mean, like, it wasn't everyone on the team has to do it. It was like representatives from your team have to do it.
Okay.
So I end up, I guess, as the representative from our team, or we could choose different activities to get different points and stuff. And we're racing the clock, so it was either 30 seconds or 60 seconds, And I think I was tag teaming with another person who was like, I did a burpee, then he did a burpee, then I did 2 burpees, and he did 2 burpees to like, I don't know. But I do know that like by the end of this, like whatever, this time limit, I'm just like falling flat on my stomach and then getting up and then just falling flat and just getting up, just like slamming my body on the ground because I don't have any more like strength to hold myself up. And like the next couple days were brutal because I just had like bruises all down my body, like on my hips, like
Ooh.
my pelvis and stuff. And I was like, what was I thinking? I
Oh,
was like,
jeez.
I gotta be real careful with burpees. I can't just like body slam the
Oh
ground.
man, yeah, I don't do that stuff very well. Although I
Yeah.
did remember that I one time I was like really courting this uh, ski resort. They were in this environmentally friendly ski resort that was doing really cool things up in Oregon, and they invited me up for a ski with my colleague. And a funny story about that is she's like a new intern, like just been hired on, and we're driving up in my little Volkswagen Jetta that's like 10 years old, and it's just like white out snow, and I do not have four-wheel drive. And we end up just like parking on the side of the road and hitchhiking the rest of the way to this
Wow.
client meeting. And I was like, don't tell your mother. Anyways, we get there and we're skiing with this potential client, and I like decide to go skiing through the trees and end up like hitting something and dislocating my knee. And it's just like
Whoa.
not what you want to do on a client meeting.
No.
So then I was out, and ended up not getting any work with them. They were very nice, but
Claudia
so I
has
would say
a
that would be. Oh, Claudia's got a knee issue.
knee issue as well from jumping up and down for 2 hours straight at a trombone shorty concert. I guess, we've all done dumb things. I twisted my ankle pretty bad doing a running jump turn sidekick in taekwondo against one of the dummies, and I just like I don't know if I made contact with my foot with the dummy, but like my foot ended up hitting the base, the base that's like this,
E.
and I just like really rolled my ankles super bad on that. And
Yeah, I've got like sort of a list of sports that I don't engage with because it's not an if, it's a win situation that you're going to be probably seriously hurt. And I would put like all martial arts in that category.
it is
And
helpful to know certain things in martial arts, though, like how to
oh
injure
yeah, I
someone
think
enough that you can get away from them.
I think it's beautiful and smart. And my husband is actually like, he was like a black belt in it. And I would also add something very exciting and wonderful that I also will never do is mountain biking. It was everybody I know just comes back black and blue with like serious injuries at some point.
Yeah, I know someone who's just in the hospital for it, and I was like, that is terrifying. So,
They usually go in the hospital at some point.
well, this is we're rounding out the end of our show, and I will play a song to close us out. I have, you know what? Let me just drop this link in here. Did I? Oh,
I
do I
have
have
to
it?
say as well, not because I'm on the show, but just because I want to share it publicly, how much I love your music. It's really beautiful and thoughtful and just really well done.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You are just amptup.com, correct?
Hmm.
Okay, I'm dropping that in the chat for everyone. Um,
Yep. And anybody listening, we would love to have you come and take a tour and see what we're building. We're launching live, moving out of beta mode in mid-March at South by Southwest. We'll be at the Artist Gifting Lounge there. So if you have a pass, come and see us there. And we'd love to see you on the platform. So come check us out.
all right, and this is which I realized I didn't actually sound check this, so I hope that it's fine. This song is called "Don't Give Up on Me," and I don't really play it live currently in a show setting because it's in a weird tuning. So I'm working it up on a little baritone uke to see if I can start bringing this live. Why do I try so hard? Why do I fight every single thing you say? Why do I complicate and twist your words? Is it that I'm afraid of what I'm worth? Don't give up on me. Don't give up on me. I wanna love with everything I am, but I'm afraid of loving you. How will I be changed? How will I be moved? Ooh. Don't give up on me. 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 Don't give up on me.
That was wonderful.
Thank you. And thank you so much for joining me. And everyone for tuning in. Oh, hey, Dan. Dan's just tuning in too. And Joanna and Claudia and Nick and Pat. And who else was here? Brian earlier. Thank y'all for tuning in.
And now Dan.
Now Dan. And yeah, Brian. It was this is a special episode, a Saturday morning episode. And I'm so glad that you could join me, Holly, and we could chat, talk about Amped Up and the things that we love, things that move us. It's one of my favorite things to do. So,
Nothing like a Saturday morning with friends.
I mean, totally. Thank you all for tuning in. I dropped the link to Amped Up in the comments, and follow Holly on all the spaces in Amped Up. Y'all are everywhere, right? Like y'all, I know y'all have an Instagram account. I guess I could have put that in here. It's Amped Up Music, right?
Yep, that's right.
Instagram.com/Amped Up Music. Am I spelling it right? Amped Up Music. Instagram.com. Cool. All right, I'm dropping that in here too. Anything else you want to leave us with, Holly?
Oh man, I think it's a really exciting time for where live music is headed, and I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions and dreams and visions for where it could go. And we are looking for beta testers for our tour routing tool. So if you would like to do that, please go to our website, AmptUp.com, and it'll say beta testers. It may say venues only. Ignore that. I'll change that. And we'll meet together personally, you and me.
Sweet. Well, thank you so much. If you're a musician tuning in, or you're with a venue, or you have close ties with musicians or venues, spread the word. It's pretty cool what's happening. Cool. Well, thanks everyone.
Right. As we say, rest up. The revolution is coming.
True. Thanks everyone. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon.